Hello, everybody, and welcome to another interesting episode of Bold Conversations between Medina Oyedele. And as you can see, just beside me, I have another bold personality. She is a powerhouse, right? She is a powerhouse. She's a poet, she's a writer, she's a spoken word artist, she is president. Yes, you know, she is an embodiment of what you can call boldness. So I'm here today with her, and I just want to have some bold conversations. Welcome to today's episode.
Thank you, Medina. Thank you very much.
So I really like to start from where I like to start, which usually is how was childhood like growing up for you?
I wasn't expecting that question.
There you have it.
Childhood. I grew up mostly in Lagos, Nigeria. I was born in Uyo, which is in the south in Akwa Ibom State in Nigeria. I am from Uyo, but we moved to Lagos when I was 4. So I had all my education in Lagos from primary to um, undergrad.
Okay.
Uh, so I guess you could say I'm a Lagos girl. I grew up mostly in Surulere. Um, yeah, and I grew up a long time ago, so life was a bit slightly different from what it is now.
Cozy.
Uh, when you're a child, you just want to play,
Mm,
and when there's electricity, you watch cartoons and then go back to playing. It's time for school, you go to school.
yeah.
And I really enjoyed school, so
Mm,
school was fun for me.
yeah.
Um, but I like to play. I grew up without siblings for a couple of years, so
Only you enjoyed
it was
everything.
boring, but I had it. I was always in my head.
Mm,
Like I'll be imagining stories in my head and
right.
playing it out.
Mm.
You know, I'd pretend that I'm making Fanta with, don't ask me with what. Then I'll be pounding things and saying I'm cooking for my family or
Uh,
somebody's doing this. I'm running around as if other people are playing with me.
mm,
I guess if I was outside Nigeria, people would have said, "Oh, I had imaginary friends," but
yeah, I guess.
I had that kind of imagination just to keep me going. Yes, so
Mm,
that's how childhood was. My childhood. One thing that I always remember about my childhood is that I grew up in a home that was kind of strict.
mm,
So if I wasn't allowed to play with certain people, I'm not supposed to play with them.
yeah,
If
yeah.
you were found playing with them, you'll be in trouble. You could get some spanking. Um, if you're supposed to get back into the
At a
house,
particular time.
you need to get back into the house by that time.
Mm,
So there's no playing. Uh, one very important thing back at home as a child, I was not allowed to speak pidgin.
hmm.
I was only allowed to speak English
Polish
and
tush.
Ibibio.
Okay.
By that I mean if you asked a question in English, you're expected to respond in English. If you asked in Ibibio, you're expected to respond in Ibibio and not think you're very smart and you can respond in English.
Oh, okay. So if
Yes.
you're asked in Ibibio, don't play smart.
No, don't. You had to speak. So I had to speak
According.
Ibibio most of the time at home, and I liked it.
Mm,
I couldn't speak pidgin. I couldn't say something that somebody had said outside and it was said in pidgin. I'd be
mm,
looked at funny. What did you just say? What's the meaning of that?
wow.
So, which I found very well.
Strict. Looking back now.
I didn't. I, I wasn't like. I wasn't asked my opinion about that rule, but I followed it.
Mm,
It's just funny because by my teens, I could speak pidgin pretty well. In primary school, I couldn't speak it well. If you're not speaking a language much, you
you're
don't
not
know it.
supposed to.
So if I tried to speak pidgin in school, my classmates would laugh. What did you say? But by my teens, I spoke it pretty well.
Mm,
And after a while, I was actually translating radio drama scripts to pidgin.
wow.
You know how when you turn on the radio in different cities in Nigeria,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
messages are, if it's going to cut across different people, it's either in the native language of the community, or if it's a community, as most communities in Nigeria that speak different
Okay.
languages,
Mm,
pidgin is usually the language of
yes.
choice. So yeah, I found myself making. When I started doing it, I was laughing and like, this is a language I wasn't allowed to speak when I was growing up. But here I am making money and then touching lives with it.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yes, one of the things I remember from my childhood that is kind of funny.
I think it's that curiosity in the mind that always want to do what you're actually asked not to do. could that be? Because I've always seen you as a creative and not the
Yes.
regular creative, the out of box kind of creative. So maybe at what point did you get to learn the pidgin at all? If at all you could actually pin it down to a time.
Nobody was spoken all around me.
Mm,
From when I was 4, 5, 6, living on Rotimi Street. I mean, it's off Ojelegba Road, but it's closer to Tejo Show. Everybody around you is speaking pidgin. You're sent down the road, you're walking with your uncle or
yeah.
auntie, and then people are greeting them in pidgin.
Pidgin.
They go to buy something and they say, how much be this thing? You know, it'll take 10 naira. You know, you're hearing it all the time.
Yeah.
So yes, I guess my brain was internalizing it somehow. So I understood it. I just couldn't speak it smoothly.
Mm.
It's like Yoruba.
You speak Yoruba well.
Yeah,
Very well.
I don't know about very well, but yes, I speak Yoruba.
As long as
it's
like she
difficult.
speaks very well, so you can't really pin it down that
I
maybe
s-
a name, maybe by your name you can say okay
I,
she's
I,
Yoruba.
I get along. You know, when you live in Lagos,
You
whether you
speak
want to
it.
speak Yoruba or not,
Yeah.
you would get to hear it. I also speak Igbo, but I speak Yoruba better than Igbo. You know. So yeah, it's. I don't know if it's that I wanted to do what I was asked not to do. It's just that it was all around me. I wasn't a really stubborn child growing up.
Mm.
I was creative in my play,
Mhm.
in my head,
Yeah.
but I wasn't very stubborn. I didn't have the mind, you know. For children that are stubborn, they have how do we
Strong
say it?
mind.
Yes, they have strong
They have
mind.
strong mind. But
Yes.
I just want to ask, does the experience you had as a child did it have anything to do with what you're doing right now as a creative?
I don't know. I think I just bloomed
Into it.
as the Lord willed for me to bloom. So you see, as a child, I did debates as
Okay.
well. In secondary school, I was in the literary and debating society. I tried to join the drama club, but I liked literary society more.
Okay.
But in primary school, I did debates, I did quizzes. My first time on TV was on NTA. It was some quiz that we had done in my school and a debate. I can't remember what position we came, but that was my first time on TV. So
Wow.
I just always, I think my teacher saw that I knew how to do something and they brought me out to do it. You know, that's what I think. But I don't think growing up anybody ever encouraged me to
Mm.
do
Especially in that
creative
particular
things.
time.
Yes,
In
in
that
the
time
80s
where
and
it
90s.
was either you're a doctor, an engineer,
Now
or a
what to
lawyer.
you? And you know how it is. If you're brilliant and you get all A's in junior WAEC,
Yeah.
no, scratch that. If from primary school you get into secondary school and then
Yeah.
you like integrated science, this one is going to be a science student. You
That's
then
true.
see if you pass all the subjects.
Yeah.
Did she pass sciences? Straight
She's
to
a science student.
So this is how I went into the science class, and I really enjoyed the science class.
Okay.
I really liked chemistry.
Yeah.
I liked geography, without really knowing that I liked geography. It was just learning new things and discovering. So there's so much in the world I don't know. You know, learning about longitude and latitude and different kinds of rocks and sediments. It was just fun for me, right? Um, I liked some physics too. But I think at some point I also got bored because I wanted to do literature. And the only
There was just that part of you that
I couldn't
just
do literature. So even I couldn't sneak out of class to
do
go.
literature.
The art students were having literature at the time that I was having geography.
Oh boy.
I couldn't sneak out to go do it. So I did literature by sneaking into the library, staying in the library longer than I should.
Mm.
Maybe if we had Yoruba after break, I'll be in the library from break time till after that. After that period, when the Yoruba is done, then I'll go back to class.
Wow. Because I'm thinking most times our child will just have like direct or indirect, but again I know that with exposure, with this they're saying now is more of the exposure of the things around you.
And the personal
In yes,
inbuilt
yes,
things I
that's
like. The
inbuilt
one thing in my
creativity.
childhood that I think had, and it's not that it was a very, very persistent experience, is that as a child, so we left Uyo when I was 4. Um, and I used to go home to visit maybe after every 2 or 3 years. I remember vividly that anytime I went to Uyo, in the evenings, my grandfather would gather us together
Yes, that kind of
and
folklore.
tell folklore,
Yeah.
and I used to feel very bad that he would start giving these riddles in Ibibio, and I couldn't.
Answer.
I mean, I understood Ibibio, right? But then he would start Ekonke, and I really love Ekonke because it just meant that we're about to tell a story, or we're about to have a very nice like riddle time, and then I'm hearing the riddles and I'm thinking, what's the answer? Somebody else has already answered it. Who are these people? It was very strange to me because I'm the person that when I'm in school, when they ask riddles, I'll be one of the first to answer. So I was very. But you see, listening to those stories I loved them because it's folklore. Then there's singing along with it. The folk tales, of course, they are didactic, and Grandpa is calling all of you around because he wants to tell you a story about the tortoise and the hare or some other animal, and then how one animal misbehaved.
Outsmarted you.
One animal thought they outsmarted the rest, but they got to pay for it in the end. And growing up, I understood the relevance of those stories. So you're passing on morals to the younger generation, but I really always remembered just that feeling of the oneness, the shared community of singing a folk song together, and then at the end, somebody would now tell a story, or somebody would start or somebody would start saying, so this riddle me this, and they'll say a riddle, and then you have to think of the answer. So like there's a riddle, like I remember as a child they would say Ekonke, everybody would say Nke Kongabasi, then they would say that's a story, and like the Yoruba would say Alo. Then somebody would say Nsido Nieka Eka Ni woke up, and I'm thinking Nsido Nieka. As a child I'm like, Eka is mother.
Okay.
So the riddle is saying what has a mother but doesn't have a cover, and I'm thinking, how can a mother have a cover? Is it me that doesn't understand the language?
The language is.
But there's the poetry in the language. So, Nsido Nieka Eka Ni woke up. This is to describe a pot. If you have a pot, it has a cover. The big part is the mother, and it has a lid.
Yes.
That's the description in my language. So that proverb riddle is saying, so what has the big part, but it doesn't have a cover? Somebody will say ube. Ube is a hole, any hole. Whatever you've dug and you've dug it deep, it's a hole.
But it doesn't have
a cover. It's like a pot that is big and deep, but it doesn't have a cover. So thinking about it as I grow older, I realized it's the way the language is formed. It's the way the idea itself is used to form that analogy. And I think that for me, it's those kind of sensibilities that has helped with me becoming a poet. I think, and all our indigenous languages have that beauty. It's just a beautiful thing about our language.
Wow. There's your book, one of your books, Eforiro.
Another story.
I know I was going to ask that question. So what inspired Eforiro, and why Eforiro?
Not you too.
Okay.
The first time I read that book in Uyo, in Akwa Ibom, people were saying, so why Eforiro? Why are you are our daughter?
Yes, why not?
And we have a lot of delicious meals. Why didn't you title the book Edi Karinkong or Ekpankuko or Afang? And I laughed. I said, but there's Afang inside the book. You just need to read it. You see it. Okay, so it's a collection of short stories. There are 19 stories in the book. That's not the title I would have chosen for it.
Okay.
But once my publisher read that story, she said it had to be that. And I had no say in it. I was just the writer, and the publisher said it had to be this. This title is catchy, and it was a really funny story too.
It is.
Well, it's a really funny story. So I like Eforiro. It's one of the few
collections.
I mean the soup.
Okay, as a soup with different obstacles inside.
Yes, I like the soup. It's one of the few non-Ibibio soups that I like. So because I'm a big fan of Ibibio food.
Yeah.
But Eforiro has vegetables that are green, and apart from the obstacles, I'm not really big on meat. But fish, yes, and vegetables, yes. So I like eforiro because, especially also because if it's most places cook it with iru, which is locust
Locust
beans. I
beans.
love the taste and smell of locust beans. So
Hmm.
this is how I went somewhere one day and we're eating eforiro. I was eating eforiro and my friend was supposed to be celebrating his birthday and he'd taken a couple of us out.
Mhm.
Then somebody, I could tell that the birthday boy was enjoying his food too much. Somebody now says, "Sir, did you park a so model of car?" I said, "Yes." Please, you're blocking someone. Can you come and move it? And he's like, Can I give you the key to move my car?" I didn't
Because
know
of the way he
he
was
was
enjoying
enjoying
the
the food. And
okay.
I was like, "Get up, get up." So I don't know. It's the Lagos girl in me
It's
that
a
was like, "You
mixture.
cannot. What do you mean? Can I give you my key?" So this is
Alright.
what inspired the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. As a creative, because well, I think now with the advent of media, it's becoming a bit lucrative, if I am safe to say that. But I know that you dare not say you are an author like 20 years ago and then be taken serious. Like we could unpick creatives that were doing well in the industry. So, how did you decide to carve a niche for yourself in an industry that does not look that
Lucrative.
lucrative? Yes.
Um, Maybe I just have strong head. Oh, finally, I
But you
don't know.
just you said earlier that you don't have
Or maybe I just don't have sense. Because if it's for the money, I won't be doing literature.
Hmm.
It's just I have always known, and it's not that there are aspects of creativity that are lucrative now,
Mhm.
but you find that a lot of writers are not. A lot of writers probably do not do the kind of lucrative things that the kind of things that bring money in that
In the
sense.
industry.
Yes, the things that are mainstream,
Mm.
you know, even content creation is not many writers do content creation in the way that would generate money, right? Um, but I just always felt like sharing stories, telling stories. And once I got the validation and felt like what I was writing could be considered as poetry, first of all, just having someone say, "Oh, you write poetry," from when I was 16. And I had to go back and look at all the things I had written and started taking myself seriously from that point onwards.
Mm.
Because if this is poetry, then I
To
needed
make
to
it
make it
more.
better. I needed to be true to it. I needed to really dig deep within me. And then I found I could actually write stories. Okay. And
So let's try it.
I kept doing it. Yeah. So I think for me it's not that I chose to do it because it's lucrative. I chose to do it because it's something I enjoy doing. And when I'm not doing it, I feel a constant, and this might sound quirky, but I feel like a constant push, a constant itch. I feel like I'm not doing something right.
Mm.
It's almost like I'm wasting my time, whatever it is I am doing.
That is not creative.
So
Hmm.
this is why I keep doing it. Yeah, that's just it.
So what will you tell a newbie coming into the industry?
Which industry?
This is our creative industry, not me.
If you want to do it, please go for it. You really cannot know what will happen if you don't go for
If
it.
you don't try.
And here's the thing: you might try one thing and find when you try one thing, you might now discover other things. So I didn't know I could. I didn't even know that there was such a thing as writing radio dramas. It didn't occur to me when I started writing. But then because I was writing, I was doing poetry, performing poetry,
Mm.
uh, writing and publishing poetry, then writing stories that got published. Somebody read my story and she was like, "You write really well. Would like writers for our radio drama scripts. Would you like to come? Would you like to try something?" And I said, "I'm not on your phone." She said, "Don't worry, don't worry. We'll show you like the basics. I mean, from the way you write, from the way
Can
you write
tell.
and the way you write dialogue." So it started from there. Somebody says we have a radio drama that people have sat down to conceptualize the idea, to break it down into 26 episodes. So that's like 2 seasons.
You just need
And
writers.
they've broken it down. They've done a treatment. which is they've told like in short, this is what happens in this scene, in this episode. We have 3 scenes or 4 scenes or 6 scenes, and this is what happens. And they would have written out who the characters are. You'd have you know what the story is. You know the different plot lines. You have the main plot and subplot. All of this has been designed by writers as well. Some of them will write the script, and they said, let's see what you can do in this space. And I read all of that, and I wrote maybe 2 or 6. They're like, fantastic. Next time we want you to write a magazine, not the drama itself. It's going to be a magazine program. Like, what's a magazine? And I'm learning on that job.
On the job,
Then we have trainings, and I'm learning more and more how to write for the ear, because writing for radio is different from when you're writing a book or writing for TV. Yes. So that's how I learned. But if I had not written the things I had written, somebody wouldn't have seen my skill enough to say, oh, we can help diversify, we can use your skill. And I think that for many creative people, what we are is we are tools to be used. So
yes,
you need to sharpen the tool,
and
so it can be used. It's only by constant use. That's it. So I wouldn't have known that I could do radio drama, for instance. The first time I performed poetry in public, I wouldn't have known if I wasn't hanging out with poets who said, oh, somebody is doing poetry. I'm like, really? And then I get that they are not reading, they are performing. And I'm like, this is it. I thought this only happens in my head.
So
and I'm like, okay,
seeing
it, and I'm like, okay, I want to perform mine this way. I want to read this poem, but this poem I'm reading, it
needs some drama.
It's a poem of somebody calling on the speaker in the poem is calling on ancestors to come and join. It's like a libation poem. And I'm like, I want to read this poem to people without the script. I want to memorize and then read it and dramatize it. But again, I'm feeling like I'm a woman, I'm an African woman, I'm not supposed to pour libation. No.
That part.
So it's okay. We can get a man to pour the libation. Is that not what drama is? Yes.
Yeah.
And having that idea already, and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do this.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah. That's just what I'm saying. If you don't actually carry out do the creativity, you will not know where you can go. Because for the creative person, maybe their skill is video editing. But if they do not even begin, to take pictures or learn how it is to adjust lights, to get the right kind of picture or video, how will they carry out that skill? You have to start from somewhere. Then when you do that little you're doing, then you find other things, yes. And you then eventually, after some time, realize, okay, this is what I want to focus on. So that's what I think. Just try. Do it. Learn about it. Do as much of it as you want to do, as long as you're not stealing anybody's work.
And giving credits to anybody's work that you use.
Yes, if you use someone's work,
if you use anybody, even if it's a phrase, please give credit. It takes a lot to put these things together.
So even if you write a poem and you pick a line from a song, find a way to attribute it. Yeah.
I think this kind of resonates with me. I'll say it here. She probably will remember that in 2019 I reached out to you that I wanted to start writing like you. And then I said, how do I write like you? You said, just write. I'm like,
I said that.
Yeah, just write.
In 2019, I said that in 2019, 6 years ago.
Yes.
Don't say when I get sense. So.
I'm like, no, I was expecting you put this together, you do this, just write. The more you write, the more you get better at it. And I can tell you, 6 months down the line, it was as if I read a post sometime around that time that went like haywire on Facebook. I'm like, oh, okay. And for me, that kind of buttress what you're saying is that it's like by practicing you become better. You don't get to a point where you say, okay, I'm done. I think this is the peak of it for me.
Oh yes. And I told someone this recently in an interview I did on a podcast. I said, the person said, so are you done becoming? Because my first book is titled Simply
When
Not
you're
Becoming.
just starting.
I said, no, but I don't think I'll ever be done becoming. I don't think any artist is ever actually done until they die.
Yeah.
Professor Wole Soyinka is 90. He'll be 91 this year, and he's still working, still writing, still reading. So I mean, a very important part of writing is also reading. Read
a
as much
lot.
as. Don't say I'm only going to read what I write. No, read as much as possible. Read wide. Um, Apart from building your vocabulary, you're also building your worldview. You're building your
Context.
intelligence. You're able to have more grounded conversations or arguments. Read, you know. So yeah, it's important to do those things.
Oh, okay. So this will bring me to another interesting question that I've always wanted to ask. How have you been able to balance leadership, motherhood, self, and everything in between?
Leadership. For many years, I ran away from leadership because I was afraid I wasn't qualified. I wasn't
Oh,
prepared.
yeah, man.
No, I wasn't afraid because I'm a woman. I probably would have been afraid because maybe I had young children. So I thought, okay, I'd have too many responsibilities. I can't do this. But I found that consistently in spaces that I'm in, people
Keep coming.
ask me to do things, and I'm saying this with as much humility as possible. When people ask me to do things and they say, "We know you can do it," I'm thinking to myself, are these people trying to put me in trouble? Are they just trying to set me up?
Yeah.
You know, like, because I don't think I can do this thing. Why do they think I can? And I found eventually that when I say, but I'm not sure, they say, but you can. You just told us this and this. I'm like, okay. When somebody says, don't worry, you won't be doing it alone. We're here with you. It kind of gives
That comfort.
that okay. And so yes, I know that as I have been a follower for a long time, and there have been times when I have ideas or I have questions for those who are in leadership. They don't always, I know that it's not always possible to agree with what a leader wants to do. But I've always liked the leaders who tell me
what is going on.
Yes, and who say, for instance, I hear you, I hear what you're saying, but here's why we can't do it that way.
And this is what we're doing right now.
Actually, I might know what you're doing. I just don't understand why you're doing it this way.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking, we know this other way, it also works. And if the person tells me, yes, that can work, but here's something that we didn't make known before. We have this challenge, and this is the way we are trying to avoid this challenge becoming bigger than it is, or we want to accommodate more people, or we're thinking that for this first step, let's do this. I've always liked leaders who can do that. And so, and the times that I have taken up leadership, I have also always tried to be that leader who communicates to people, who thinks of others, who thinks of the best interest of the majority, so that in whatever it is I'm trying to achieve, I'm not then looking at my own interest alone. I also want to be the leader who does the right thing. I don't want to break rules where I don't need to break rules. I don't want to cut corners when I can as well just be straightforward. So yes, and I know that when a woman does that, I have to come back to when a woman does it.
Yes, because you always have to like explain ourselves.
Yes. It will be as if others did it like this. Why do you think yours has to be different? Why are you being difficult? Do you think you're more intelligent than those who have come before you? Or you are trying to prove something? And sometimes I know that this thing will not work this way. I have no empirical evidence to explain it.
But that intuition is always
Thank you.
There, yeah.
There's the intuition. Yes. But because I also know that not everybody can understand it, I will look for a way, an intellectual way to explain it to them. Or say, okay, let's give you an example. If we did this and then this other thing happened, what will we do? What will we say? And then maybe if their response is, we'll tell them everybody cannot be. I said, no, I cannot tell my people everybody cannot be served. That's not fair. That's not the leader that I am.
That is more of an autocracy kind of leadership.
No, I mean,
where the leaders feel like you are not supposed to explain yourself to the followers.
And I don't know, maybe it's the way I grew up, but I'm very comfortable saying, I don't know.
No, yeah. That's another power.
I will tell you, okay, see, I know many things, but this one I don't know. And because I do not know, I have asked you all here so we can talk about it. Or before calling you all, I have asked people, this is what I have learned, that is what I have learned. And with this in my, so because I don't want to exclude you, I want to carry you along. Here's how it is. What do you think? And you know what I think the best part of being a leader is that you don't actually have to know everything. You just have to. I trust that everybody has something inside them to give. Some people might be too lazy to bring it out. Some people might actually just be in a position because they want the clout and not because they want to work. Some people really just don't want to do the work.
Some just want the title.
Yes. But if you have people around you who are willing to work and who actually have the interests of people at heart, it's easy to say, see what we have here as a problem. Okay, see what I have gathered as our resources. What can you gather as your resources? Let's bring it together. Let's work at this together. And then as a leader, you sit back and listen to everybody. And then you pick, you listen to everybody, you read the room. And then you find the solution that will work best. Sometimes it's actually just by listening and then praying to be led, because I don't think it's possible to lead people to lead people well without submitting to a higher power, which for me is the Almighty God above. So there's almost nothing you can do right without actually listening and praying.
So that is more of the leadership part. So can we take a glimpse into being a mother, a student, and Ikwa Abasi herself?
So yeah, I think I got into motherhood pretty early. I married in my teens and had my first child at 19. Then I had my second at 21. Yeah, and I hadn't gotten into university then, but then I got into university and I had to juggle it. It meant that there were things, of course, there were things I wasn't even considering.
We're not optional.
Yes. Not because somebody said it to me, but I wanted to be a present mother. Especially when children are young, they are so vulnerable and so they can't say what it is they are going through. So I really wanted to be there for my children when they were smaller. Yes, I got a degree while they were small, but I was just doing that as small. Then eventually, I now started, writing some more. I had always been writing and just keeping the things I was writing. When they grew older, I could then go with them to literary events, maybe go for a reading. So that by the time I started now doing my own readings, I could go with them. And I think they really liked. It must have been strange to them to see their mother called up to get a microphone and get on the stage and start reading things they couldn't understand. But yes, I did that.
Yeah.
It's just to say that for me, I put motherhood first, sort of, because I realized that my children are vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be there as much as I could for them. So yeah, those times were things like leadership. I wasn't even looking at those things because for many years I wasn't. Not because I didn't think I was capable, but I just felt, what if I needed to do things outside and then it would affect the time I needed to spend with my children? So I was one day, as they grew older, then I began to allow myself to carry out those positions. But I think one can even be a leader even when you're not publicly recognized. So you could be in your class in university and then you're leading in different things.
Even in the family, like it takes a lot to actually manage a family.
Oh yes.
It takes a lot.
Yes. And I think of myself as somebody who became a mother even as I was still a child. Yes, I was. I may have come across as very intelligent, very strong, very wise.
Yeah.
But there were things that I had not yet been exposed to. Again, once I became a mother, all of that was behind me. I just said, okay,
this is the reality. So
and
I'll do this.
Yeah, so I focused on that. So I was also just doing my creativity in bits, as much as I could, in bits and pieces. It was when they grew older that I now decided, okay,
Let's
maybe
go
I
into
should
this
maybe I
fully.
should publish. Maybe I should actually accept a position in the Association of Nigerian Authors.
Yeah.
Maybe I should go ahead and do these things. Maybe I can go for a conference outside of the town we lived in. Maybe
Go outside of your
yes,
comfort zone.
Yes, that's when I began to try those things. I don't think that there is one way to do this thing. I think it's everybody's reality is different.
It's different, yeah.
And then if you have a partner who is supportive and who is willing to put in the work so that you also will have space to grow,
be you.
that can also speed up one's ability to merge the two, or because it's really not easy to build a career and have children.
Yeah.
For instance, in addition to writing, I was also doing craft work.
Yeah, the Ankaras.
Not necessarily
Those
Ankara.
ones.
I was making shoes and bags with crochet. Crochet is a craft that uses yarn or thread and a needle.
Needle.
Not
Like
two needles,
knitting.
that's knitting. Crochet uses
Okay.
the one with the
Yeah, I get that.
hooked pin. So I learned it. I just learned it playfully while I was pregnant with my first child, and then after a while, I thought, oh, I could do something with this. And I tried doing different things with it, and then I said, oh, I could make a purse. And then from making a purse for friends, I started making slippers, sandals. Started working with shoemakers.
Okay.
Again, that's something I was doing. Maybe I take the children to school. I don't have class that day. I do a little bit of that, then go pick them in school, come back. We're done with homework and dinner. I'll do some more. And I was building it slowly
Gradually.
and learning more. Again, when they grew older was when I was able to say, okay, so let me go learn the shoemaking full time.
Fully. Okay.
But yeah, I'm just saying all of those things, it's a choice that one has to make. With a better support system, maybe it would have been
faster.
It would have been faster, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm not complaining.
You
I'm
move faster.
no regrets. I'm just saying there's no one right way to do it.
Like,
As long as
one-way traffic.
you just look at the reality of your circumstances
Yeah.
and do what will be best for all of
For
you.
you.
And for yourself. I didn't know this until I was close to 40. I didn't think of the fact that
Where is Diane in all this?
no, I wasn't thinking of me, because who am I? I'm a mommy. I'm
Mommy.
24-hour consultant.
Yeah.
You are a caregiver. You are a problem solver. You are a nurse.
You are a pastor.
You
You
are
are a priest.
everything.
You are an
You are a
intercessor.
priest. You are an intercessor. Everything.
Yeah.
And you still have to be a leader, and you still have to be loving, and you have to be fair. You are everything at any point in time. You can't say no, right? So I didn't think that I needed to be cared for, but over the years I have come to realize it. You can't actually give.
What you don't have.
You can't give yourself if you don't take care of yourself. You might become drained, and when you're drained or burnt out, you'll be snapping at people when you shouldn't be. So it's not because you're a bad woman.
Yes,
It's not
there is
because
more
you're a bitter
going
woman, but there's too
on.
much going on. You're
going
holding on to
there.
too much already, and you don't realize you have the right to say, hey, give me a break, I need to rest.
Like, mommy needs
We
to
don't
take
know
some
this.
break.
No, we don't know this.
Yeah.
It feels very alien to think, oh, I need a break. It feels very, very alien. Like I didn't think I had the right to say, can I do this next week? Can I do it tomorrow? Right now, I really just need a break. I never thought I never thought I had the right to even think it, much less ask it, until a few years ago. So yes, I've also found sometimes, no matter how many deadlines you have, no matter
They will
how
always pass.
no matter how urgent or important, sometimes you need to just take maybe 45 minutes and
Take
just
that
chill.
break. Yes.
And also eat well. Eat well doesn't mean eat plenty. It doesn't mean eat the most expensive.
Just balanced.
It could actually eat well could actually just mean take a lot of fruits and vegetables, things that will nourish your body and help you regain,
energy.
some of what you've lost. You can always get energy from carbohydrates, but
okay.
when you take, I've found, fruits, vegetables, especially everything that is in season,
Nature.
and a lot of water.
Yeah.
Just shift. Let me drink water first.
Yeah.
I'll listen to you later. Give me space. I'm learning that, and it's very refreshing.
So, do you have any particular self-care routine? that you do very often that just energizes you or rejuvenates you?
There's one self-care routine I wish I did more of. Sleep.
Never thought of that.
Oh yes, oh
Okay.
yes.
I was thinking I'll sit under the tree, have some fresh
There's
air.
that.
But
There's
never
that.
thought
I
of
like to
sleep.
go out in the. Somebody was asking me the other day why I'm saying I need to get my daily dose of vitamin D. Like, you don't want to get sunburned. I'm like,
No.
but the sun is not bad actually, depending on what time you get it.
Yeah.
Sunlight is good for you.
Mm.
I mentioned fruits and vegetables earlier. I love doing that. So even when I fall ill, sometimes I'm like, why am I so sick and not recovering?
Mhm.
You've taken all the medicine.
Yeah, sometimes you just need
You
to
just
rest.
need to rest.
Mhm.
Sleep
Just
is
need
very,
to
very
rest.
important. I found that sleep is very, very important. And if you're like me and you're always worrying, it means you can't even sleep the sleep well if you're worrying. So
I
you
know-
need to
I know
declutter
that
your mind.
feeling.
No, because
Mm.
I don't want to drop dead tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if a person drops dead,
Yeah.
the,
The
life-
world,
the world will continue like
just
you're not
1
dead.
minute silence.
Even
Sometimes
if
you
your
even forget.
even your children will hurt, they will ache, but they will
They will
continue.
move on.
The things you thought they won't be able to do, they will find a way.
And they will survive. And
Yes.
I don't know if it's me or I'm just being paranoid right now, but I discovered that it's even after the death of the person that looks as if I'm not here, this thing is not going to happen. And the children just blossom. Like, I have 5 examples coming to my head right now. And it's after the death of the mother. And you will hear these children say, my mother did this, my mother gave her all. I'm like, yeah, she did. She
did.
actually gave her all to the point of, losing herself. Wow, it's
So I've told my mother this thing. So I'm like, you need to relax.
take care.
Take it
Chill.
easy.
Chill.
Like, so just take it easy.
Yeah.
Nobody knows the kind of illnesses they'll have in the future. So I think it's important to relax once in a while. I remember telling my mom, so it's okay, you can relax. These clothes you are saving for special occasion. You
Wear
can-
them.
You can wear them now.
And those plates, those special plates, those special plates and cups and spoons and shoes.
Why do we do that though?
I don't know. I
Why do
think
we do that?
I think it's like it's passed on, and then you don't ask questions, and then you just grow up also and start the same pattern.
You don't think it's a poverty thing?
I don't
No,
think
because
so.
I think every day we are alive is worth celebrating.
Yeah.
Every birthday is worth celebrating. Why do we have, we used to have
Special-
Sunday rice.
Yes, is that
Spe-
Sunday
so
rice?
why don't we do these special things
There's
every
Sunday
Sunday?
rice.
Do you understand?
Yeah,
Why don't we do it okay, let's keep it for special, but let's do it every Sunday.
every Sunday.
You don't have to wait. Enjoy it now. And
Yeah.
enjoying it now can actually mean spending time together
as a family,
as a
or
family,
yourself.
as a loving unit. It can mean that can be all. You don't need to. It doesn't have to be an expensive trip, right? Trips are good though, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've learned now that I like to travel. You see,
They
if you don't travel, you don't know you like to travel.
You don't know, especially when you don't go to. We went to, oh my, there are some places you will go to, and then you'll be asking yourself, where have I
Where have
been?
I been all these years?
Yeah. Traveling
no.
is also
And the travel doesn't have to be going to the UK or to
Mm.
Spain or to Indonesia.
Yeah.
Can
We have
be in your
some
own country.
beautiful waterfall. I was watching a documentary recently. I can't remember his name now. Is it Wada on YouTube? And then it goes to different African countries, Algeria, Botswana. I'm like, okay, so these countries are all around us, and you could actually travel. to
Even
them
in
without-
Nigeria, what are you saying? Even in Nigeria, there's
Yeah.
so many places in
Beautiful
Nigeria that are beautiful. You just need to take time out and say, okay, this, even in your hometown, somewhere near
Yeah.
your hometown. When I went to, I was at a writer's residency, the Ebedi International Writers Residency in Iseyin.
Yes.
Iseyin in Oyo State.
Oh, saying is close to my place.
Okay. I had never been to Iseyin. So when I told my neighbor, she said, oh, that's where I'm from. I said, okay, really? She said, yeah. She said, there's the Oriki that they say about Iseyin people.
I only
Omo
know.
is saying
I only know my
or something
place.
like that. You only know your own Oriki.
I only know.
Good for you. But you see, I went to Isen and
I
I'm like,
should
this
know
is
that.
nice.
Yeah, it is.
This was the
It's
first.
very
That's the.
hill, a lot of
There's
mountains.
some hills around. So even
Yeah.
heading there, going there
Mhm.
in the taxi, I was like, wow. Ah, did I sleep before?
Then-
And I'm seeing hills. Wow, where's my phone? Let me take pictures.
Yeah.
Guess
yeah.
what? While I was at that residency, one of the highlights was they took us first to the King's Palace. So I mean, we have visits to the King's Palace. Some other time when other writers go, they take them to different places in the community. The place I was taken to was Adoawaye. It's a hanging lake.
Yes.
So we climbed to the top of that
And has its
mountain.
own story too.
Yes, we
That
climbed to
is
the top
that
of that
story.
mountain,
Yeah.
and there was a lake at the top. And I was looking around. Where did this? Okay, where is the source of the water? It seems like the water is going down somewhere. Where is it going and coming back again? Why hasn't it dried up?
Yeah.
And then the water looks green. When you scoop it, it's clean. What is this? Is a wonder,
Yeah.
and it is in southwest Nigeria.
And that's just one part of Nigeria.
And it's not. You see, it's not the best. It's not the most amazing. I'm just
No.
saying.
There are places around
There are
you
places,
that you can-
yes. And I went up to the top of that mountain. We're three writers. I was the only writer that got to the top. Is where I'm going with this. I don't think
You
I
made
was.
it up.
I don't think it's because I was very fit. I
Yeah.
just think
maybe you were carried away with the beauty.
maybe I was
of-
also
yeah.
fit a bit. I wasn't even wearing the right shoes because I didn't know where we were going. You know how I knew that, oh, okay, they're taking us out today. That's fine. So I can get up for my writing. Let's go out. Because before then, the only place we went to once a week was a school in the community where we're doing like giving back to the community. We're teaching the students. I was teaching creative writing to the students,
Yeah.
you know, and encouraging them to write, just exploring what folklore sounds like in Iseyin
Yeah.
and seeing what we could do with it.
Mm.
But when I heard that we're going out, I said, okay, that's fine, let's go. And then I wore sandals and got into the car. And then we drove, and I'm like, oh, you mean we're climbing this mountain? Okay, let's go there. You know, I really want. This is how you discover you like things. If you don't
Something, if
expose
you don't
yourself.
go out.
But I'm just saying that rest can mean it can mean going to your village, and you don't even announce to anybody that you are home. Please just relax. It can mean staying in your house.
Yeah, just
you know,
going to that quiet place.
do something fun. It can mean playing a sport,
Mhm.
and then you play a sport, you sweat, then you come home, bathe, and sleep, and really sleep, not thinking about so I need to wake up by 5 o'clock, because if I don't wake up by that time, I will be late before I finish cooking, before I finish. This used to be my life.
Yeah.
So these days I tell myself, so you know what, push everything away and just sleep.
And just rest. Wow.
And drink lots of water, plenty water.
So now you have the secrets why she looks so young.
Do I?
Like, I've always wanted to ask why you look younger than your age. I won't
It's
ask
my
that.
mother and my father's genes.
So
I
let me
inherited
go
good
to
genes.
second to the last question, which is, if you were to tell your younger self an advice,
Just one advice.
just one, key one, very key, bold. I didn't see that coming.
Only one.
I didn't see that.
She needs more
coming.
than one advice. So
Okay.
that my younger self needs plenty advice. Well, I guess the first thing I would tell her is that she is worthy.
Yeah.
I'll tell her, you are worthy, you deserve it. You deserve everything you want. You deserve all the opportunity you want. You deserve to learn the things you wanted to learn, but you are afraid to speak up. You deserve audience. You deserve love. You deserve care. You deserve help. You deserve support. You are worthy, and everything that you are is enough. It's enough for you at that time. So the more the more she would have experienced,
More she has.
Yes, it shouldn't have taken her so long to
Yeah,
build her
so that
confidence. And if she had had that advice, maybe she wouldn't have believed the people that told her she was
wasn't
less.
enough. Yeah.
She wasn't enough. So yes, that's the first thing I would tell her.
And I think
First
that's
thing,
like
if there was nothing
golden.
else to say, I would say that
Yeah.
one, because that would cover her for her career, cover her for her education, cover her even for love.
Yeah.
because when you know you are enough, not as a thing of pride, um, you know that you are enough, not as like a sense of haughtiness, but
Mm-hmm.
just understanding that you are beautiful, you are special, you are created by the Almighty Father. Therefore, you are enough. You have everything inside
I
of
think she
you
has
that's
wrapped
enough.
up the whole. I
Yeah.
wanted to say was boldness, but this right here is looking like that bold conversation that you just want to say. This is the meaning of boldness, you know. So I think we'll just wrap it up on this. We might have to have like part two if time permits, if I'm able to, grab her and just hold her by the hand. So thank you so much for coming on this episode. I really enjoyed myself. It didn't feel like the regular was like that authentic conversation. So this is me saying thank you so much for watching us once again today on Bold Conversation. Till I bring another bold personality your way next episode. How do you say bye bye in your language?
Hmm. Um, I don't know. It depends on what you want to say. First, let me thank you for having me on the show. Haba.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been such fun just sitting down and having this
Yeah,
sisterly conversation with you. I
thank
enjoyed
you.
myself. And yeah, if you want to have me again, I'll be glad to do this
So
one
we
more
we will
time.
do this one more time and in a
Mm.
more maybe virtual, anymore physical. So thank you so much for joining us
All
today
right.
and bye.
Bye. Tie songo. Songi
Au
demo.
revoir. Au dabo.